Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Financial Survival Network is presented to you by Regal Assets. Buy and sell physical gold and silver through your existing retirement plan, 100% tax-free with Regal Assets. If you want to include physical gold or silver in your existing IRA or old 401k, request your free investment kit, which was recently featured in the Forbes and Smart Money Wall Street Journal magazines. Call toll-free 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620, or visit regalassets.com. You're listening to the financialsurvivalnetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1590 WPSL, and it's time to catch up with Diana Zoppa. And it's been a couple weeks. Diana, how are you?
I'm doing great, Gary. How about you?
My happy hour reducing plan, the happy hour diet, is working incredibly well. You might not lose weight on it, but let me tell you, you will not gain weight from it. And that's sometimes as important as losing weight, right?
Exactly. Well, and you said you're having so much fun that,
Exactly.
all that laughing, you lose a lot of calories when you laugh a lot. Do you know that?
Yeah, well,
burns up a lot of energy.
I have to do some more laughing gas because I haven't been laughing enough lately, but when I talk to you and other friends, that problem quickly disappears, and no matter what's happening in the world, the precious metals slam down and all that garbage, you know what? I just can't worry about it because it is what it is. You have a limited amount of control, and all you can do is prepare as best you can and live your life and enjoy your life because that's all you have is your life.
Mm-hmm. Well, and, just going to the gold theory, of course, I mean, gold, as Rick Rule always says, it's insurance. Gold and silver is insurance for your money. And even though we're seeing the times where Goldman Sachs said not too long ago that they were going to see it, short it, do whatever they needed to do for it, see it at $1,200. Well, they're working it and it's happening. And I just think that... you have to look at it as the investment. It's a long-term investment. You're not in it for the monies, for the highs and lows. You're there to have it so that when, things really hit the fan, it's still there. But I mean, I don't know. The manipulation factor just keeps coming. I can't help it.
It's coming.
It's not manipulated.
But let me just say this. I will hold my gold and silver until the day that the term responsible politician is no longer an oxymoron.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I mean, gold and silver is still the store of value for it's been this way for all of time. So I think, we just have to kind of figure out what else that you can go into if you're going into the stock market. I mean, where are you going in the stock market these days? I mean, the trust and the fear factor is so great. I mean, people are just running to cash. And, so where would you suggest for the stock market for anybody right today?
The only things I like on the stock market are resource-based stocks, particularly master limited partnerships. And you can play many parts of the world and many different resources with those MLPs. And for Americans, because we all know that you Canadians are very undertaxed, but for Americans, just a joke. For Americans, those MLPs, and understand I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I give this caveat anytime I mention anything, is that if you take my advice, you will definitely lose money in the short term. I promise you that. Mm-hmm. But with that out of the way, the MLP tax structure is that when you get distributions, they're not dividends. Only a portion of your distribution will be taxable. The rest will be a return of capital and not subject to taxation. In addition, we've got all these crazy depletion allowances and resource depletion, depreciation, all sorts of crazy things that only a tax law designed by politicians could have. But what it does is, let's say that you have 10,000 barrels of oil in your oil field and you produce 1,000 barrels this year. Well, you would say, gee, I should be able to write off 1/10 of the value of that field, what I paid for it. Wrong. Under our government, you could do as much as 20%. I mean, it's absurd the way these allowances work. They escalate, they de-escalate. Don't ask me how they work, because I'm not a tax accountant. I have a life and a personality, so that excludes me right there. Or a tax attorney. You know, my friends who were tax attorneys used to laugh at that show, L.A. Law, because they said, we've never seen tax attorneys having that much sex before. It just doesn't happen. So, but you know, these MLPs are incredible, and then they put out anywhere, depending what they are, 6-8% distributions a year. You reinvest those distributions, it compounds the tax benefits, and you wind up building wealth extremely quickly.
Yeah.
That's why I like them a whole lot. But, you know, the other thing, Diana, and you've talked about it, and so have I, is invest in yourself. I found every course I've ever taken, every seminar, every continuing education course has never been wasted, has always resulted in a profit. And, you know, just the way I started this radio career of, I went to this guy, the podcast answer man, a guy named Cliff Ravenscraft, become a very good friend since. For $800, I learned every single thing about podcasting that I needed to know to put out a first-class program for you. And as a result of that, you know, my career kind of really started flourishing. And I discovered a love for this that I never knew I had. I mean, I knew I was into the radio. I knew I liked doing what I was doing. But when I really started recording and editing and viewing what you would eventually hear from a totally different standpoint, it really cemented my relationship with it. So invest in yourself, any passion you have. We were talking about Facebook posts before. There was a great one. I hope you caught it. It said, follow your passion, but take your brains with you. Okay, it's great to have a passion, but if your passion is for sculpting potatoes, don't be surprised if you're not going to be able to make a living doing it. So follow a passion, but sometimes your passion leads you to places that you never thought you were going to be. And I can attest to that fact. So invest in yourself. Sometimes you can take these courses for free. You know, every Ivy League college, Diana, in the United States and in the world now, has a plethora of professional level courses out there that you can watch for free. And there is no excuse for you not to educate and improve yourself. If you're not doing it, it's because you don't want to.
Totally agreed. I completely agree. Just with regards to, you know, the stock factor, and again, back to that, but I was going to say that anything that is dividend paying, if you're into, I mean, you know, certainly the mining stocks, I mean, silver and gold, anything of that nature, I think are still, they haven't seen their day yet, and I think there's going to be some merit in those coming up. But, you know, for safe havens, besides physical gold and silver, is still having blue chip stocks that pay dividends, or having some high interest savings account at whatever bank you have where you're collecting and doing compound interest, right? So those are the three things for me that are still my, you know, ways of saving. And but back to this gold thing, I was actually reading an article. Sean sent me an article not very long ago, or just yesterday, I guess it was, by the John Cassidy from the New Yorker, which of course is Condé Nast, which is, you know, Power Elite,
Belly of the Beast. Belly of the Beast.
Belly of the Beast. But anyway, there was an article in there that was called "Why the Price of Gold is Plummeting: 6 Theories."
Right, I saw that. Yes.
Did you see it?
I didn't read it though. Unfortunately, I have to read it.
Yeah, it was. But of course, I mean, the six things he came up with were the Bitcoin factor, sort of discussing it. But I mean, I don't think. I mean, I've read sort of three or four different things about the Bitcoin, and I think it's just sort of a fad. I don't think it's not going to get really any traction long term. I don't think so. Then, of course, the one thing that he puts in here is the Goldman Sachs conspiracy theory, which I
like that one.
I
think
had
that
to bring it
has
up.
some
I had to
merit.
bring it up. Yeah, that one's got some merit.
Perhaps.
I just love that conspiracy term. I always remind people when they use that word that that's a leftist term, and it's used so that you come off as a crackpot, or that you think that things are not changing at the speed of light the way they want them to. You're not a progressive. You know what I mean?
Hey, yeah, they're the ones always had the theories, the conspiracy theories about Bush, Cheney being evil, which politics is evil. So you could pick any politician and say that. I don't think they should be singled out.
Yeah.
This guy, the big guy right now, I don't think they come any more evil than that. But look, it's this has been in the offing for a while, whether it's deliberate, conspiratorial or not. It is what it is. But but the interesting thing is now the price, they're letting it go up $5, $10, $15 a day.
Yeah.
All right. When it goes up too high, close to 20, they bang it down.
Yeah.
And
they short it. It's awful.
But they are going to let it go up at some point. I think they've been able to close out the majority of their shorts, and they're no longer, the commitment of traders report's going to tell the whole story, although there are ways to hide what's in that report. So panic, no, because it's an insurance policy, like Rick Rule says, and like you mentioned, Diana, and just hold on to it. One day you'll be real happy that you have it, and that you're eating and getting along nicely, and everyone else is struggling. Don't tell anybody about it. Don't tell them where you have it. Don't go to look at it, to go count your coins, whatever. Do not do all that. Just keep it under the radar.
Yeah. So his three other things is it's just a correction, which of course it is just a correction. I think that's the number one reason for what is going on. That's for sure. He's also mentioned the Chinese economic weakness factor.
Yeah.
The inflation phantom has been slain, which that's just in direct relation to Bernanke and the Fed.
Oh, I believe that one. There's no inflation.
No.
No.
How can there be? They don't allow it.
Yeah, well, the statistics say that there's no inflation, so therefore the government never lies to you, do they?
No, never. And the last one, here's the best one. The Great Panic of 2008-9 is finally over. So there you go. So we're on a recovery. And so that's why gold is dropping, because nobody's afraid anymore. Things are getting better.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm glad you mentioned it. I feel much better now. Happy Days. I have this song. Let's see if I can find it. Happy Days Are Here Again, which was FDR's 1933 campaign song. And let's see if I can play it here, because it's something that you want to hear. Trust me on this one, Diana. You want to hear this one. You probably heard it many a time. It's just the gullibility of man and the wanting to believe. It just makes me laugh. Now, let me find it here and see if it'll actually play on the... Here it is. Yes. Let's see if you can hear it now.
Okay, go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. You hear that?
Yep. No, not anymore.
It's coming out of the speakers. So...
What, do you got that on a turntable or something? You are a classic.
It's coming out of my computer's speakers. I didn't make it do this right.
It's a beaut little song, isn't it?
Doesn't it sum up all the propaganda that they're feeding you every day?
Oh, yeah. I could see the Monopoly banker running all over the place.
And that's a great graphic. I'll let it go now.
Well, on that note, that could take us to saving money.
Yeah, well, any day you save money is a good one. And Look, I'm a bit of a snob. I have never bought used clothing. The thought of somebody else wearing something that I'm going to put on my body nauseates the hell out of me. However, found through a friend a high-end thrift shop in Palm Beach, West Palm, I think it is, or maybe it's on the island, Palm Beach, and only rich people are allowed to give their stuff there.
Oh, cool.
And you buy like multi-$1,000 suits that have never been worn or worn once. I mean, they have tags on them, some of the things that are hanging there.
I love it.
It is incredible to look at. But hey, it's really an amazing thing, and you can really do well there. It's like being able to shop on Craigslist, but actually go into a store, and it's really pretty amazing.
So you've converted? You're shopping there?
I'm going. It'll have to be something good. But as far as buying used furniture there or other stuff, hey, I don't have any issue with that because everything you own will eventually be used. When you buy it new, it will be used very shortly, just like a car. I would never buy a used car, Diana, because I said, why buy somebody else's problems? Mm-hmm. But you know what? When you buy a newer car with very low mileage on it, your odds of getting a lemon very greatly reduced.
Right.
So,
and you have extended warranties now, which, I mean, and you can actually buy, another year or two of warranty a lot of times when you're rebuying a used car, right?
Yep, you are right.
I had a garage sale a couple weeks ago, remember?
Oh, how'd we do?
It was pretty good, actually. I mean, considering it was pouring rain that day, which was a bit of a drag. But I posted it on a number of different places and had several people call for items that I had listed because I did a bit of an inventory of sort of main things that I wanted to get rid of, which I had people call. So I was able to send pictures. People came and bought things, and it wasn't bad. So just if we ever get any sunshine back in Vancouver, then I'm going to kind of look on the long term to do another one. So.
Well, it's pretty iffy, getting sunshine in Vancouver any time of the year, but I guess you got to live someplace. Now, here's a better idea than that. If you want to leverage your garage sale and really make this work, get a bunch of friends to do it at the same time.
Oh, yeah, no, I know that. The community centers do things like that. I remember.
That's what they have here in Florida.
Yeah. You buy a table for $20 or whatever and go crazy.
Well, this is garage sale day in this neighborhood.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's fairly, it's not as high end as where I was, but it's high end for the area. Yeah. And it will attract a lot of people. And there's going to be dozens of garage sales in this neighborhood. And that will increase your turnout like you can't believe and lead to a lot more earnings. So team up. This is why I stress, Diana, and you know it, as part of your financial survival plan, community, neighbors, connect, make sure you get to know them well because they will be counting on you and you will be counting on them because, Diana, the way I see it, the gold crash here, which is really somewhat of a commodities crash, look at the price of copper. They call it Dr. Copper because it has a PhD in economics that actually works. Crude oil back under $90. Silver's down. Copper, I can't remember what the price of copper was, but it was down to like $3.20 a pound or something like that, or $3.15. It really took a huge hit. And that, to me, is indicative of future economic travails, of future economic problems, meltdowns. Mm-hmm. Meltdowns. Let me just put it out there that the next phase of the financial crisis is here, and you better get ready for it. And saving money is certainly a way to do that. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. And, there's a lot of diversions going on out there in the world right now. I mean, bills are getting signed, things are getting slipped through while bombings are happening and all this stuff's going on. I know I sound like a nut when I talk like that, but what I find interesting about the Boston bombing is, there is so much security, camera, surveillance, police.
Yeah. And they
Who's
just
not
watch.
doing their job for this to happen?
Can you imagine a government employee not doing their job? Shocking to me. I'm shocked.
Well, I guess the thing about it is that how does that happen? You know, how does a black bag get left behind that nobody knows about? You know, at the finish line of the Boston Marathon.
You know what they do in New York?
I mean, I'm shocked. Like I'm completely. I mean, it's terrible. It's absolutely horrendous that this kind of thing is happening. Mm-hmm. And that that what's going to come out of this is that you're going to see more surveillance, more protection.
You know what's going to happen.
Pressure cookers are going to probably be illegal before too long.
Well, I don't think they'll make them illegal. I think you'll be forced to register them, and you'll have to have a background check before you can buy one. But I'm not trying to joke about this.
No, I'm not joking either.
It's a pathetic state.
It's pathetic that we have to actually, live to witness this. But, we have talked about the 200-year cycle of democracy, and I'm serious. Like, we are at this apathy place. And I've been discussing this more and more with people who, were unaware of that philosophy. And I'm serious. Like, I talked to a guy today just, talking about the Second Amendment and why the Second Amendment is, because, everyone's like, oh, more guns, less guns, all this kind of stuff. But why? Why do you need less guns? Why do you have guns? Because it's about protecting yourself from the government in times. I mean, so when it's really so basic for so many things that people just haven't been aware of, and I was telling you about another friend of mine who posted a really crazy website, and she's talking a lot about political correctness and just, being a little bit outlandish in there, which is great. And I think it's fantastic because, she's expressing herself, but she doesn't really understand why she is completely expressing herself yet. So I'm not going to put it out there because I got to talk to her because I've got an idea to kind of partner with her a little bit.
Let me explain the way political and awareness of slavery, of what the real system is like. Okay, when most people, and for me this is true, the thought of eating sushi just turns your stomach. It's raw fish. You say, "Ooh, I'm never going to eat raw fish." And then one day somebody says, try this California roll. And you say, well, is it raw? And you say, no, it's got crab, even though it's fake crab. But try it. It really tastes good. And you bite into it and you say, man, this is really good. And after you're eating it for a while, a few months, you say, well, maybe I'm ready I'll try a little salmon. And you try the salmon. It's raw, but it's delicious. And you say, God, I can't believe I was so thick about this, that I was so set in my ways. And then before you know it, you're eating every type of raw fish known to man, and you're loving it. And this is what it's like when you start discovering lack of freedom and what's going on. You notice it a little here, you notice it a little there, and then before you know it, you're picking out all of the memes and all of the manipulation taking place around you. And it starts with the recognition of the absurdity of political correctness, that it is a means of shutting you up, period.
Yeah, I know. The idea of not being able to say immigrant, and they're calling it the I word. I mean, like what are people, it comes down to an insecurity about specific types of character. I mean, really and truly, again, and it's, for me, I mean, we've all been through all our, stories as kids and what we've done to evolve to be where we are, to be the secure, insecure person that we are. But
a little bit of both, but yeah.
A little bit of both. I mean, come on, let's be honest. But, I mean, the idea, I mean, why the idea that somebody doesn't, you are an immigrant. You have moved into another country. That's the name that it is. So, we have allowed our cultures to, our culture, the U.S. culture, Canadian culture, which I consider them to be, very similar. I mean, we have our ways of doing things. And so we allow cultures to come in, and Canada's been a huge melting pot. I mean, always. Yeah. And we've always embraced other cultures, and we've always, hey, celebrate what you are. But but I don't have to live the way that you live, and you don't have to live the way that I live. But you are in our country. If I was moving to your country, whatever foreign country it is, I wouldn't go there. I would have enough respect for you as your culture to move into your country and respect what it is that your culture is about. But, that I think as an individual is one thing, but as a mass, it changes. And so we're seeing so many issues. I can remember just even the, different cultures that were applying for the RCMP didn't want to take turbans off. This kind of stuff. It's like, my goodness, there's all these issues that happen around that, right? This is the law. This is what or not the law, but this is the rules, however you want to look at it, right? Certainly they're meant to be, changed, and rules are meant to be broken. I've always had that kind of philosophy. But the fact is that there are certain things, I think, that, that remain as culture. And,
yes.
In your culture that I think that people do not respect. And so, these are where the issues start to happen, right? Because then you see, here, you can't call it a Christmas tree. Well, it is a Christmas tree. It's always been a Christmas tree.
Yeah, and you can't say Santa effing Claus anymore either, or you're really in trouble, right?
Yeah.
I love being politically incorrect, and my former would really... it would just make her do cartwheels, and but I hate limits on my expression. As long as I'm not really infringing your rights or saying something that's abusive, or even if I am to some extent, nonetheless, there's this thing called freedom of speech. As long as I don't provoke you to violence, then take it. Too damn bad. I'm going to say what I feel like it. If I believe that global warming is a crock, which has subsequently been proven to be, then I'm going to say it. And if I believe that there are a bunch of cannibalistic elite banksters trying to consume every bit of wealth that they haven't already grabbed, then I'm going to say it, and I'll take my chances. So, and that's what you need to be doing too. So we got to go, Diana, but where do we find you? What's your site these days?
Still Zoppa Media, of course, and I've been working on a couple of different things. We finished Fashion Week. I'm working on March, and I finished March. I'm working on September now. Seed event is happening in Calgary this weekend. I'm not actually attending. There was a few changes that they have a new sponsorship team. And I was really busy with Fashion Week, so I'm not part of that, and I'm not actually attending. And there's just a few things with that happened. But anyways, all positive. It's still going on, but it'll be a good show this weekend in Calgary. So that's about it. I'm actually kind of regrouping a little bit, and I'm working on a few new projects coming up. But I'll be able to tell you more about them in the future.
All right, and we've got the Liberty MasterMind Symposium. Go to libertymastermind.us or go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Sign up June 29th, 28th, 29th. I don't know if I told you, we got David Morgan.
Yes.
And we got Martin Armstrong, which he seldom ever goes to any conference.
Good for you.
And I think if you are worried and you don't understand cycles and you don't know what you're doing, you got to listen to this man.
Yeah.
He's also a warrior for freedom, and yet he's the most unassuming. You would think everything that happened to him, he would be angry and bitter, and he's just so happy. And, he's a remarkable man that you really need to listen to him and to see this guy one-on-one. To me, getting him to come was the highlight, but we also got Jeff Berwick. I don't know if you've seen, Diana, he's all over the media on
I know,
Bitcoin. I mean, talk about somebody getting their 15 minutes. And this guy, and he's a good friend.
Yeah, he's really come around this last couple of years. He's worked it, and it's working for him. Good for him. It's fantastic. I interviewed him in the Bell.
He's brilliant, and he really lives the libertarian anarchistic lifestyle. For me, it's not quite as practical as him, but he lives in Mexico. I live in the once free United States, and we've got so many great people. We got this guy that you have to connect with, Captain Capitalism.
Capitalism.
Yeah, his name is Aaron Clary. He lives up in Minneapolis. He wrote a book. He's written a number of books. This one's called Enjoy the Decline. And basically, it's how to separate your happiness and still achieve your happiness, even though the country's going down the tubes. And he's, I would put him up there as a budding PJ O'Rourke.
Oh, I love that. I love PJ O'Rourke.
Funny, irreverent humor, no PC there. He basically says that feminism destroyed women, and he's got a lot of controversial ideas. You may agree or disagree with some of them, but yeah, it's true. It destroyed women and it destroyed men, and a lot of negative results from it. And we got 15 people we're having there, Diana, in addition to me and
that's awesome.
And Robert Ian.
We're hoping to come. I mean, it's right before Freedom Fest, of course, and I told you we had a bit of a plan. So we're going to see what we can do. I'm working on it and would really love to attend. Back to that concept, I just read an article about Gabriella Reese, I think it was an older article, but she basically had suggested that she was being more subservient in the relationship, and that's what made their relationship work for 20 years.
Yeah, where can I find some of these women, man? I've never been able to marry one, I'll tell you that.
Well, I am an old-fashioned woman myself in a lot of ways, of course. But James Yeager, of course, reading a lot of his information in his books. I mean, if you watch Fiat Empire and the other film that he did, oh my gosh, it slipped. Oh my goodness, I'm having. It's all about the Constitution. But anyway, it's all about. It's basically all about the history of the 60s and how feminism came into play, and birth control pills in particular are the real demon, of course, because it allowed more freedom for women. And I mean, I'm all for that in a sense, and women being able to choose, but it did a complete role reversal in a lot of ways. And here we're in places now with relationships where we've never seen in the past, right? So the constitutional or the traditional family unit has completely been destroyed, and it goes back really to the Franklin School into the 30s and basically into progressive behavior, right? So
great point. And we've got to wrap up now because I got my next interview coming up, but always a pleasure, Diana.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
And till next week, we'll come up with some more money-saving tips next week when I really get to focus on all this. Okay?
Okay. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Ciao.
Fortuna Silver Mines is now a show sponsor. Under President and CEO Jorge Ganoza, it's quickly becoming a world-class silver producer with 2 operating mines and extensive property holdings in silver-rich Peru and Mexico that will help fuel future growth. Started in 2005, it's gone from just 5 employees to over 1,500 today, while keeping its commitment to social and environmentally responsible operations. As of the third quarter of 2012, they've hit 80% of anticipated silver production of 3.7 million ounces and 94% of expected gold production of 17,400 ounces. By mid-2013, the production rate forecast is 5 million ounces of silver and 26,000 ounces of gold. Fortuna is currently seeking accretive M&A opportunities in the Americas. Fortuna is a proven winner with rapidly rising production into the foreseeable future. Their ticker symbol is FSM on the New York Stock Exchange and FVI on the TSX. For more information, click on their logo link on financialsurvivalnetwork.com or go to fortunasilver.com. Join Fortuna Silver Mines' record of outstanding success.